The ground was shaking with every blast, and the sky burned with alien fire. Smoke spread across the battlefield like a thick blanket, hiding shapes of fallen men and broken machines. Among the ruins lay a single soldier, his armor cracked, his weapon lost somewhere in the dirt, and his body heavy with wounds. His breath came slowly, every inhale sharp with pain. He tried to move, but his strength had already left him. Around him, the screams of war had grown distant. The world felt silent now, as if waiting for him to take his last breath. He had never believed death would come so quietly. The battle had been chaos, with commands shouted through static, with explosions ripping through lines, with alien machines tearing through everything that stood in their way. His squad had been brave, but bravery meant nothing against weapons that bent light and machines that walked like giants. He had seen friends vanish in seconds, their bodies reduced to nothing by alien fire. Now he was the last one breathing, and even that seemed temporary. A shadow moved across the smoke above him. At first he thought it was one of the alien war machines circling to finish what was left. His eyes strained upward, vision blurred by dust and blood, but what he saw froze his heart. Massive wings cut through the smoke, wings larger than any machine he had ever seen. Scales shimmered like armor made from living stone, glowing faintly as if the fire of the battlefield had been trapped inside them. A long neck bent downward, and eyes the color of molten gold looked straight into his own. The soldier could not move. His body screamed with fear even though he had no strength left to scream aloud. He had heard stories, legends whispered by old voices of creatures that lived before men walked upright, but he had never thought such a thing could step into reality. A dragon. It stood above him, vast and heavy, the ground trembling under its claws. Its breath steamed like a furnace, hot air rushing against his broken body. For a moment, the soldier believed it was over. Death had taken a shape of fire and wings. The dragon lowered its head closer, so close he could see reflections of the burning sky in its eyes. He expected jaws to open, teeth to close around him, the end to come quickly. Yet the creature did not strike. Instead, its wings unfolded wide and lowered like a shield. The soldier blinked in confusion. The dragon was not attacking him. It was standing over him, covering his body with its massive wings as if to guard him. He did not understand. Why would a beast protect a man? The answer came with another sound. A deep hum rolled across the battlefield, a sound not born from nature but from alien machines. Through the smoke came shapes of steel and light. Alien walkers moved with cold precision, their tall frames glowing with unnatural energy. Their weapons hummed as they charged, searching, scanning. They did not see the soldier at first. They only saw the dragon. They raised their weapons toward it as if the beast was their true enemy. The soldier's fear shifted. He realized that the dragon was not here for him alone. Something larger was happening, something he was too weak to understand. The aliens had destroyed armies, but the dragon stood against them as if it had been waiting. Fire erupted from its mouth, a stream of flame so bright it turned the smoke white. The alien machines staggered, their shields cracking, their metal bending under the heat. Yet they did not fall. Their weapons responded, beams of light cutting through the air, striking the dragon's scales with sharp bursts of power. The soldier felt the shock waves ripple across the ground. He could not move, he could not help, he could only watch. The dragon roared, the sound tearing through the air like thunder. The aliens pressed closer, their machines forming a circle. The soldier knew then that he was not lying forgotten in the dirt. He was caught in a battle greater than anything he had ever known, between a beast of legend and an enemy that wanted to erase humanity from existence. The heat grew unbearable. Sparks and fire rained down. The dragon shifted its body, making sure its wings stayed over the soldier. He felt the rush of protection again, strange and impossible. The creature could have flown away, left him to die, but it stayed. The soldier wondered if the dragon had chosen him for some reason, or if he was simply caught under its shadow by chance. Either way, he was alive because of it. Pain blurred his thoughts. His body wanted to give in, to close his eyes and never open them again. But each roar, each strike of fire against alien steel kept dragging him back into the moment. He could not look away. His fear turned slowly into something else, something closer to awe. The dragon was no story told to scare children. It was real, and it was fighting for more than itself. The battle raged on, the soldier's heart beating weaker with every second. He felt like a ghost already, lying between life and death. Yet in that moment he understood one thing clearly. The dragon was not his enemy. It was his shield. And whatever the aliens had come here to claim, It was important enough for both man and beast to risk everything. The soldier closed his eyes for a breath, certain he would not wake again. The ground shook with another blast, the sky tore with fire, and in the middle of it all, the dragon kept its wings around him. The night sky had turned into a ceiling of fire. Every blast from alien weapons painted the battlefield in short bursts of white and blue, making the soldier see shadows of death everywhere. He lay under the wings of the dragon, still too weak to move, his body bleeding into the dirt. The creature above him was not silent anymore. Its chest rumbled with a deep growl that made the earth tremble, a sound that carried both fury and warning. The alien machines stepped closer, their shapes tall and cold, their metal shining like silver blades under the burning light. The soldier had faced many battles before, but these enemies were different. They did not move with human rage or hesitation. They advanced like a perfect rhythm, their heads turning without emotion, their weapons glowing in harmony. They were hunters, and nothing living escaped them. Yet here they were, circling a single dragon as if it were their greatest threat. The soldier did not know why, but something inside him whispered that this was no ordinary encounter. The dragon stretched its wings wider, almost covering the soldier entirely, as if it knew the aliens would target anything small and weak behind it. Fire gathered in its throat again, lighting the smoke in flashes of orange. Then it released another storm. The fire rolled forward, curling through the air, crashing into the enemy lines. Alien shields flickered. Metal hissed and warped. Some machines fell, their legs melting, but most pushed through, their weapons slicing the air with beams of deadly light. The beam struck the dragon's side, tearing scales apart, but the beast did not step back. It roared instead, the sound echoing across the ruins like the cry of an ancient god. The soldier's eyes darted toward the horizon. He could see more shapes moving in the distance. Hundreds of machines walking in perfect formation. The aliens had not come with a small force. This was an invasion wave, and the dragon was standing alone against them. The soldier's chest tightened as he realized something larger was hidden here. The aliens were not simply attacking Earth. They were after something buried in this place, and the dragon was the guardian of it. The soldier wanted to rise, to at least crawl toward his weapon, but his legs refused to obey. His blood had already drained too much strength from him. All he could do was watch and try to understand why a creature from legend would fight for him when his own people had already lost the field. Perhaps the dragon was not fighting for him at all. Perhaps it was fighting for something much deeper, something ancient. The aliens drew closer. Their voices were not voices at all, but sharp signals of sound that cut the air like glass. It was not a language a human could understand, but their intent was clear. They wanted the dragon dead. They wanted whatever it protected. The soldier pressed his hand against the ground, trying to keep himself awake, forcing his eyes open. He could not allow his mind to drift into darkness. If he closed his eyes, he felt certain he would never open them again. The dragon leapt forward, its claws tearing through metal. Two machines collapsed under its weight, their bodies crumpling like broken towers. Sparks and fire burst into the air, but even as the beast destroyed them, others fired back. One beam of light cut across its wing, slicing through the membrane, making it stumble. The soldier's heart stopped for a moment. The dragon was not invincible. It bled, just as he bled, and every strike from the enemy left deep wounds. The soldier's thoughts raced. If the dragon fell, there would be nothing left to stop the machines from claiming whatever they were hunting. Humanity had already lost soldiers, ships, and cities. If they lost this creature as well, then the last hope of this battlefield would vanish into smoke. He tried to drag himself forward, his fingers clawing into the dirt, but his body moved slower than his desperate mind. The ground shook with a blast, throwing dust into the air. Through the haze, the soldier saw one machine step forward, larger than the rest, its frame glowing with strange marks that pulsed like living veins of light. It carried no ordinary weapon. Instead, it lifted something shaped like a spear, humming with power strong enough to make the air burn. The dragon saw it too, and for the first time the soldier thought he saw hesitation in those molten gold eyes. The alien spear released its strike. A beam of twisted light rushed forward faster than anything human eyes could follow. The dragon moved, spreading its wings to take the blast. The ground exploded under the impact, throwing the soldier back against a stone. His ears rang, his vision shook, but when the dust cleared, he saw the dragon still standing. Its chest smoked. Blood ran across its scales, but its wings still arched above him. It had chosen to take the strike so that he might live. Confusion mixed with awe inside the soldier's mind. Why protect him, a single broken human? Why not let him die like the rest and save its own strength for battle? Something about him must matter. Something even he did not know. The dragon's growl deepened as it looked back at him for a second, as if testing his will to keep breathing. The soldier, though nearly unconscious, forced his hand up in a weak grip, showing he was still alive. The machines did not stop. They moved closer, their weapons humming louder, their formation tightening like a cage around the beast and the man it guarded. The soldier felt the air grow heavy with pressure, the promise of destruction hovering over them. The dragon shifted, lowering its head as if preparing for a final strike. But the soldier could sense it was wounded too deeply to fight forever. He realized then that this battle was not about survival alone. Something else was hidden in this place, something the dragon could not allow the aliens to reach. The soldier's body trembled with exhaustion, but his mind burned with a new thought. He was not just a dying man lying under a beast's wing. He was part of something greater, even if he did not yet know what that meant. The soldier's breath rattled as he forced himself to stay awake. His vision blurred in waves, yet through the haze he could still see the dragon holding its ground. Fire poured from its mouth, claws shredded metal, but the enemy would not break. Alien machines adapted with cold precision, shifting their formations, focusing their strikes on the beast's wounds. Every second, beams of white fire tore across its scales, and every second, the dragon roared in defiance. The soldier realized with sinking dread that even this mighty creature could not hold forever. The alien commander, the one bearing the glowing spear, stepped forward with steady rhythm. Its movements were sharp and exact, without hesitation, as though it had rehearsed this battle 1,000 times before. The spear pulsed again, and the air itself seemed to fold inward. The soldier could feel the vibration echoing in his chest, making his ribs ache. He knew another strike was coming, one that could end the dragon once and for all. The dragon shifted its wings, covering him again. The soldier's heart twisted at the sight. Why did it protect him? He had no strength, no power, nothing to offer. But the dragon chose to shield him each time, as if his survival mattered more than its own. He wanted to scream at it to fly, to leave him, but his body betrayed him, unable to form words louder than a whisper lost in the fire and smoke. The alien spear launched its strike. A line of light cut through the battlefield like the hand of a god. It hit the dragon in the chest, throwing it backward into the ruins of broken stone. Dust swallowed them both, and for a moment the soldier thought it was over. The silence that followed felt worse than the noise of war. He closed his eyes, ready for death to take him at last. But then a deep growl rumbled through the dust. The dragon rose again, slow and heavy, its body torn, scales cracked, wings tattered, yet its eyes still burned like suns. The soldier felt something stir inside him, something stronger than fear. If this beast could rise after such a blow, then he could not simply lie in the dirt waiting for his heart to stop. His hand reached forward, trembling, until his fingers brushed against the broken shape of his rifle lying half buried in the rubble. With effort that made black spots fill his eyes, he dragged the weapon closer. His arms felt like stone, but he lifted it, resting the barrel across the ground. He knew he could not bring down those machines with a single shot. His weapon was too small, too weak, but he could still stand beside the creature that had chosen to shield him. That thought alone gave him a flicker of strength. The dragon noticed his movement. Its head turned, one golden eye watching him. For a brief moment, the battlefield seemed to pause. Man and beast, both broken, both standing against a tide too vast to defeat, shared that silent glance. The soldier did not need words. He felt the dragon's intent. Fight, not because victory was certain, but because surrender was worse than death. The alien machines advanced again. Their formation closed in like a cage of metal legs and glowing weapons. The commander lifted the spear for another strike. The soldier pulled the trigger. His rifle spat weak fire, rounds pinging against the machine's armor. It was nothing compared to the dragon's flames, but it was enough to draw their attention. Beams of light swung toward him, ready to erase him. In that instant, the dragon lunged forward, slamming its massive body into the machines before they could fire. The ground shook with the impact, and the soldier realized he had just become part of the battle. Flames roared, claws tore, and the dragon fought with new fury, as though the soldier's defiance had given it strength. The alien machines faltered for the first time, their formation breaking as they tried to counter two enemies instead of one. The soldier fired again and again, His bullets little more than sparks against steel, but they forced the machines to turn, to split their focus. That was all the dragon needed. The commander struck again with its spear, but this time the dragon dodged, wings snapping out, tail whipping through the air. The spear missed, carving a scar into the earth, and the dragon's claws caught the commander's chest, ripping through metal. Sparks burst, the alien staggered, but it did not fall. Its weapon hummed louder, burning with power that made the soldier's bones ache. He knew the next strike would not miss. His rifle clicked empty. He dropped it and crawled forward. Every inch of movement a battle of its own. His hand brushed against something sharp in the rubble, a shard of alien steel still glowing from heat. He gripped it, ignoring the pain as it cut into his skin. His mind screamed at him that he was useless against such power, but his heart refused to accept silence. If the dragon would fight until its last breath, then so would he. The dragon roared again, wings rising, chest heaving with smoke and fire. The alien commander raised its spear high, light pulsing brighter than the burning sky. The soldier, covered in blood and dirt, pushed himself to his knees and lifted the shard of steel. He could barely see through the haze, but he aimed at the only thing he could, the glowing joints of the nearest machine. He threw the shard with the last of his strength. It struck. A small spark, a short flicker of light, but enough to send the machine stumbling. The dragon seized the moment, fire consuming the broken unit. The soldier collapsed back to the ground, his body empty of strength. Yet even as darkness closed around him, he felt the heat of the dragon's wings cover him once more, shielding him, protecting him. The machines hesitated now. For the first time their rhythm faltered, their advance slowed. Human and dragon together had broken their perfect order. The soldier's vision dimmed, but before he fell into blackness, he understood something new. The dragon had not chosen him by chance. It had chosen him because even the weakest man could stand against the impossible if he refused to surrender. The soldier's mind swam between light and darkness. Pain dragged him down like heavy chains, but the roar of the dragon kept pulling him back to the surface. He opened his eyes and saw fire pouring across the battlefield, the alien machine scattering for a moment under the storm of heat. The dragon's chest heaved, its body bleeding, but it fought as if nothing could force it to kneel. The soldier's hand pressed against the ground, his fingers clawing into the dirt, as he forced himself to rise onto his elbows. His lungs burned, his vision blurred, but he would not let himself sink into silence. Not yet. The ground rumbled again, not from the machine's steps, but from something deeper, something beneath the earth itself. The soldier felt it in his bones, a low tremor like the heart of the world beating against his chest. The aliens noticed too. Their machines paused, scanning the ground with pulses of cold light. The commander lifted its spear and turned away from the dragon, focusing instead on the soil beneath the ruins. The soldier realized then that the dragon was not their only target. They were digging for something buried. The dragon snarled, flames dripping from its jaws like molten rivers. It knew what they wanted. Its body shifted, moving closer to the wounded soldier as if to guard not only him but the land itself. The soldier's thoughts raced through the haze of exhaustion. What could lie hidden here, powerful enough to draw both aliens and dragon to the same ground? He had no answer, but the tremor beneath him grew stronger, and with it came a strange pull in his chest. It was as if the earth itself was whispering to him, calling to him. The commander struck its spear into the ground. The earth cracked open, releasing a blinding light that shot skyward, cutting through the smoke. The soldier shielded his eyes with his bloodied hand, but the light still burned through his lids. When he looked again, he saw a shape rising from the ground. It was not stone, not metal, but something in between. An ancient structure, smooth and black, marked with symbols older than any language he knew. The air around it pulsed like a living heartbeat, and for a moment the battlefield grew silent. The dragon roared in fury, its wings spreading wide. It hurled itself at the commander, claws tearing through the machines that stood in its path. The soldier watched as the beast struck with everything it had, but the aliens fought back harder, pushing it away from the rising structure. The commander's spear glowed brighter, feeding the awakening force below. The soldier's breath caught in his throat. Whatever was rising from the earth was not a weapon made by man. It was older, far older, and it carried the weight of something too powerful to belong in mortal hands. The soldier tried to stand, his legs shaking beneath him. He stumbled, fell to his knees, and forced himself up again. He had no weapon left, only the memory of his rifle lying broken in the dirt. But still he moved forward. His chest screamed. with pain, but his heart burned with something else, a need to understand. The dragon had chosen to shield him, and the aliens sought to claim him along with the buried relic. That could not be a coincidence. The ground cracked wider. The black structure rose higher, its surface glowing with threads of light that moved like veins. The soldier's breath faltered as he felt its presence. It was not just an object. It was alive in some way he could not explain. The dragon turned toward him for a fleeting second, its golden eyes fierce but also strangely desperate. The soldier felt the message inside that gaze. This thing was bound to him, not to the dragon, not to the aliens, but to humanity. The machines advanced again, forming a circle around the relic. Their weapons hummed with power, their movements sharp, their rhythm perfect. The dragon tried to break through, but the commander struck its spear against the beast's chest, sending it crashing back into the rubble. The soldier cried out, his voice raw, his heart tearing as he saw the dragon fall. The mighty wings twitched, the fire dimmed, and for the first time he thought the beast might not rise again. The soldier stumbled toward the relic, his legs dragging across the broken ground. Every step felt like fire in his veins. He could barely breathe, yet the pull inside him grew stronger. He touched the surface of the black stone. It burned cold, colder than ice, yet it filled him with a strange strength. Light crawled across its veins, spreading faster under his touch. The aliens turned their heads toward him, their rhythm broken once more. The commander raised its spear to strike him down. The dragon rose again with a roar that split the sky. It threw itself between the soldier and the commander, wings spread wide, chest heaving smoke and blood. The spear of light crashed into the beast's body, tearing scales apart, but still it stood. The soldier pressed harder against the relic, his hand glowing with the same strange light that ran across its surface. His heart pounded with power. He did not understand, but he knew one thing with certainty. The relic was answering him. The ground shook violently. The black stone split open, releasing a wave of energy that knocked the alien machines off their feet. The soldier staggered back, his body nearly breaking under the force, but he stayed upright. The light wrapped around him like fire made of stars. He looked down at his hands and saw them glowing. He had no words for what he had become, but he knew this was why the dragon had shielded him, why the aliens had hunted him. He was the key to something older than the earth itself. The dragon's eyes locked onto his once more. In them he saw no surprise, only recognition. It had known all along. The soldier was not just a survivor of a lost battle. He was the one who could awaken the truth buried beneath the ruins. The enemy had revealed themselves, but so had destiny. The light poured out of the soldier's body like a second skin, wrapping him in a burning glow that even the alien weapons hesitated to pierce. The relic behind him pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, and every pulse shook the battlefield like a drum of war. The alien machines had circled him, their eyes cold and empty, yet for the first time they did not advance. They scanned him as if confused, as if unable to understand how a wounded man had awakened the very power they had sought for centuries. The dragon stood nearby, battered, its wings torn and body leaking smoke and blood. It lowered its head, its eyes burning into him with fierce pride. The soldier felt the message clearly. This was no accident. The relic had been waiting for him, for his kind, and the dragon had fought to keep it from alien hands until the one chosen arrived. That one was not a king or a general or a hero from songs. It was him, a nameless soldier, broken and alone, yet alive when others had fallen. The alien commander stepped forward, the spear glowing like a sun in its grasp. The machines behind, it raised their weapons, the hum of energy filling the air once more. The soldier lifted his hand without thinking, and light rushed outward like a shield. The beam struck the barrier and shattered into sparks. The soldier gasped at the force, his body shaking, but the shield held. The dragon's roar shook the battlefield in answer, as if declaring that the tide had finally turned. The machines moved together, striking from every side, but the soldier no longer fought alone. The dragon leapt forward, wings dragging across the ground, claws slicing through metal, fire burning through steel. The soldier advanced with it, his body glowing brighter, his hands releasing bursts of energy that shattered alien weapons into fragments of glass and dust. The enemy faltered, their perfect rhythm breaking again and again as man and beast fought side by side. But the commander was different. It did not fall back. It raised its spear high, and with a roar of alien sound, it hurled a storm of light at them both. The dragon spread its wings and took the blast, its body shuddering, its scales breaking. The soldier screamed as he felt the dragon's pain pulse through him, as if their fates were tied together. He thrust his hand forward and released a torrent of light that struck the commander square in the chest. The alien staggered, its armor cracking, but it did not fall. The soldier's strength wavered. His wounds screamed. The relic's power flowed through him, but his body was only human, and it threatened to break under the weight. He dropped to one knee, gasping, while the machines began to reform their lines. The dragon crouched beside him, blood dripping from its jaw, its breath shallow but steady. The soldier placed his hand against the beast's side, his fingers sinking into warm scales. The dragon's eye turned to him, and in that moment, he understood. The relic's power was not meant for one alone. It was meant to be shared. He pressed his other hand to the ground, the relic pulsing behind him. The light spread through his arm, into his chest, and then into the dragon. The beast roared as its body glowed brighter than flame. Fire burst from its wings, its wounds sealing with light, its strength surging as though the earth itself had poured its fury into the creature. Together they rose, man and dragon bound by the same power. The commander charged, its spear glowing like a blade of the sun. The dragon launched forward, the soldier still at its side, both moving as if they shared the same heartbeat. The alien thrust its weapon, but the dragon's claws caught it mid-strike, holding it in place. The soldier raised his hand, light burning so bright it turned the battlefield white. He drove it into the spear, into the alien's chest, and the world erupted in fire and thunder. When the dust cleared, the commander lay broken, its body cracked and leaking dark smoke. The spear lay shattered in pieces, its glow gone. The remaining machines faltered, their movements stuttering as if their will had been broken. One by one they turned and withdrew into the smoke, leaving the field littered with their fallen. The soldier swayed on his feet, his body near collapse, but he did not fall. The dragon stood tall beside him, its wings spread wide, eyes still burning. Silence returned to the battlefield, broken only by the wind moving through the ruins. The soldier fell to his knees, his strength finally gone. The light around him dimmed, retreating back into the relic, which sank slowly into the earth, as if sealing itself once more. He thought it might take his life with it, but he still breathed. His heart still beat. The dragon lowered its head, its eyes watching him closely. There was no fire left in its chest, no fury in its growl, only a strange calm, a quiet acknowledgement that their bond had been forged in something greater than war. The soldier looked around at the ruins, at the broken machines, at the sky still glowing with smoke. He knew this was not the end. The aliens would return hungrier than before, and the relic would still call to them. But now they knew something they had not expected. Humanity was not alone. When the galaxy thought mankind weak, when enemies believed Earth would fall like dust, a dragon had risen from myth and chosen to stand with a single broken soldier. Together they had shown the truth. Humanity would not surrender. Humanity would fight until even the stars themselves remembered their defiance.